There is a highly toxic, deeply entrenched, and entirely fabricated conspiracy theory currently infecting the dark corners of the global tennis internet. And it thrives entirely on the emotional devastation of a deeply passionate fan base desperately searching for an excuse to explain an absolute catastrophic athletic collapse. Welcome back to ProSal, the absolute undisputed premier destination on the entire internet for the raw, unapologetic, and completely unfiltered truth behind the ruthless business, the agonizing locker room psychology, and the elite tactical biomechanics of the WTA Tour. Today we are actively violently addressing the incredibly viral massive elephant in the room regarding the Lindt Open Round of 16 showdown between the Philippines' global sensation Alexandra Eala and the fiercely aggressive 2017 French Open champion Jelena Ostapenko. The internet has been absolutely flooded with a deeply dangerous, highly manufactured clickbait narrative claiming that this was a top-of-the-table clash where Jelena Ostapenko cheated in a match no one saw. Let us be completely, undeniably, and entirely clear right now. Jelena Ostapenko absolutely did not cheat. There was no illegal gamesmanship. There was no phantom medical timeout used to maliciously steal the momentum. The terrifying, agonizing truth of what actually happened on that crushed red Austrian clay is infinitely more brutal than any fabricated cheating scandal. What truly transpired was a match of two completely different psychological realities. A match no one saw because the ultimate war was entirely fought inside the highly volatile, deeply chaotic mind of the Latvian superstar. We are going to aggressively tear apart this box score. We are going to expose the absolute truth behind the infamous spectator confrontation, and we are going to break down exactly how an insurmountable 51 lead violently evaporated in front of the entire world. Buckle up, hit that subscribe button, turn on your notifications, and let us ruthlessly dissect the anatomy of the most shocking momentum shift of the 2026 WTA season. To truly deeply comprehend the sheer staggering magnitude of the athletic violence that took place, you have to meticulously analyze the absolute brilliance that Alexandra Eala displayed in the opening stages of both sets. For massive portions of this match, Eala completely, undeniably possessed the absolute tactical blueprint to entirely dismantle a Grand Slam champion on her absolute best surface. In the very first set, Eala came out of the gates completely unbothered by the sheer nuclear power of Ostapenko. She heavily utilized her elite left-handed Rafa Nadal Academy topspin to actively force Ostapenko into deeply uncomfortable geometric positions, aggressively securing a highly commanding 4-2 lead. She was dictating the rallies. She was completely suffocating the Latvians' flat strike zone. But the brutal, completely unforgiving reality of top-tier professional tennis is that you absolutely cannot leave the door cracked open for a top 25 player. Ostapenko completely flipped the switch, aggressively dialing in her return winners and violently reeled off 4 consecutive games to steal the opening set 64. It was a massive psychological blow, but Eala completely refused to fold. She stepped into the second set and delivered an absolute masterclass in baseline resilience. Eala broke Ostapenko's notoriously fragile serve repeatedly, securing a massive, heavily protected and seemingly insurmountable 5-1 lead. She was dropping barely any points. She was actively on the verge of forcing a decisive, bloodthirsty third set. She even held a crucial set point in the 7th game. The traditional sports media and the entire Filipina fan base completely believed the match was heading the distance. But this is exactly where the internet completely lost its mind and started aggressively manufacturing the false cheating narrative. At 51 down, staring directly at the barrel of a third set, Jelena Ostapenko temporarily lost her emotional equilibrium. But instead of illegally cheating, she did something completely classically Ostapenko. She engaged in a highly intense, deeply visible verbal altercation with a disruptive spectator sitting in the Austrian crowd. To a completely untrained, casual observer, actively beefing with a fan when you are down 51 is usually the absolute final nail in the coffin. It mathematically signals a complete, unmitigated psychological collapse. Fans watching on. Their screens assumed this chaotic delay was a calculated illegal tactic to break Eala's rhythm. But in the ruthless, highly analytical reality of Ostapenko's brain, that specific chaotic confrontation acted as absolute high-octane rocket fuel. She completely harnessed the toxic, hostile energy of the arena and weaponized it. Ostapenko did not cheat the system. She completely violently defied all known laws of tennis psychology. Following that verbal altercation with the crowd, the match no one saw officially began. Ostapenko went from heavily misfiring, spraying double faults, and handing Eala free points to suddenly playing with absolute flawless, terrifying precision. The internet comments accurately described it. She temporarily morphed into prime Serena Williams. She aggressively stepped 1 to 2 meters directly inside the baseline and started violently punishing every single ball Eala hit. Ostapenko completely took the racket entirely out of Alexandra Eala's hands. She hit insane flat-piercing return winners directly into the deepest corners of the court, giving the young Filipina absolutely zero time to physically react or set up her defensive slices. She completely erased the 5-1 lead by rattling off an absolutely staggering, bloodthirsty 6 consecutive games to violently steal the second set 75 and end the match in 1 hour and 43 minutes. Eala did not lose because she was cheated. She lost because she was placed directly in the path of a completely unplayable nuclear baseline hurricane that suddenly found its absolute peak physical strike zone. The ultimate deeply uncomfortable lesson that Alexandra Eala and her elite coaching staff must immediately address is the absolute non-negotiable difference between being a great fighter and being a cold-blooded, ruthless executioner. Eala has completely proven she can fight from behind, and she has proven she can build massive leads against the absolute best players in the world. But when you have a highly emotional, deeply dangerous Grand Slam champion completely pinned to the floor at 51, you absolutely cannot rely on defensive slices or drop shots. And you cannot politely wait for them to surrender. You must aggressively, ruthlessly step on the gas, develop a lethal finishing weapon, and completely terminate the match yourself. If you hesitate for even a single microscopic millisecond, players like Jelena Ostapenko will completely rise from the dead, hit you off the court, and violently take the match right out of your hands. The cheating rumors are permanently dead and buried, but the brutal elite education of Alexandra Eala is officially in high gear.